right, it's May 17th. It's a Wednesday, 2023. Franny's getting a cameo. Again, trying to drive the car. Franny the driving dog. Look out, Franny. Ah. All right, so I was watching this morning, apparently the inventor of AI, can't even think of his name, Altberg or Altman or something like that, is in front of Congress testifying on the dangers of AI, artificial intelligence, and how bad it could be. And then the commentator, after the fact, you know, explaining it all, breaking it all down. So what are the dangers of AI? Well, it could, what are you doing? What you doing? It could deceive us online. It could change elections. It could, I don't know, all this stuff that's already happening. What is it? Change elections. Not know if the president's actually the president speaking. You don't know if what you see online is real or not. It could take over your life and your decisions won't be made by you anymore. I don't know, all this. Basically what's happening right now. Nothing else. So it's just a matter of this artificial intelligence thing, which is still programmed by a human being. And the fear is that it will start learning for itself and get better and better. I think the responses might get better, but will it ever get to a point where it's sentient, where it's humanish, human-esque? I don't know. It may. But if it does get to that point and they're killer robots, yeah, go look at Boston Dynamics. Let's, licking me. The Boston Dynamics is a company, I think it's Boston Dynamics, where they make those robot dogs and robot soldiers, and you really look at them, I mean, they got some moves, they got balance. I mean, it's pretty amazing how far that technology has come, and it's weaponized. I mean, I saw a video of it where it shows how, you know, the discernment that they have. Put a guy standing there, a live guy, and the robot comes up, puts a gun in his face, basically scans it, says not a threat. And then the dummy with a terrorist mask or something, you know, is rigged, it stands up, boom, blows its head off. I mean, these things are programmed. They do not necessarily, they really don't make a moral decision. They make a calculated decision based on the inputs. So if they're programmed to kill you, they're going to come kill you. And so you look at The Empire Strikes Back in Star Wars saga, where they got an army of clones, and how dangerous that can be, because, you know, if you've got the wrong people in charge, which we've had for a long time, and they have control of this robot army, I mean, you don't necessarily need artificial intelligence. It just needs to do what it's told. And then we're really in trouble. Because one of the big problems now that you're going to have with enforcing the will of tyranny upon people is you need a compliant, tyrannical force, a boot that's going to stomp somebody's head or pull a trigger. And people sometimes go a little rogue. They might not want to shoot their neighbor. They definitely don't want to shoot well, maybe they do, their family members. They don't want to do things they don't want to do sometimes. And they'll just say, nope, not going to follow that order. Okay, you need to follow that order. Nope, not going to follow that order. Okay, fine. If we got a robot, though, you don't have that issue. You have a compliant military that is not going to ask questions, not going to do any moral soul searching before following an unjust order. So you can direct it to do whatever you want. So who's the enemy at that point? There's all these science fiction movies where the bad guys control things and the good guys are the enemy. What's a good guy, a bad guy? But it gets down to a situation of who controls the levers of power. And I mean, you look at the technology that's out there right now, a drone, you can fly a drone up to somebody's house and shoot something through the window, they target you, scan you, boom, know who it is, assassinate. All the technology's in place now for that total control grid system. So it can be a very, very dangerous world going forward. So it's really not necessarily about AI, it's about who controls the technology, who controls the code that's running on these complex technological human killers, really. So I don't know. I'm not not too worried about AI so much. It's just, I mean, I guess if you give, well, we've already done that. If you give control of everything that runs vital infrastructure over to the computer systems, it's like right now, I mean, you know, our control, our train grids, our power grids, our payment networks, everything's electronic. So whoever's writing that code and putting that in place, I mean, they already have total control. I mean, you don't really necessarily, I mean, that's as dangerous as any AI can be, I think, because these people that are running things, you worry about AI not having a conscience, you know, and just doing what it needs to do. I look at human beings as worse than AI because, I mean, they'll do things to other human beings that you can't even imagine. You couldn't even program it. They're just depraved and evil. I think we see that already. So it's really about putting a check and balance, not necessarily on the AI, on the freaking humans. And that's why elections are important. Oh, yes, but as we've seen with the Durham report, they really don't matter anymore because we're not going to give people the right information. We're going to lie to them so they make a bad decision. And then even then, and that's what they said, the guy this morning about AI, it's like, well, they could control voting machines and it could be, the 2024 election could be in jeopardy. It's almost like, let's normalize it since we've been doing it for several elections. Let's normalize it so that, the AI did it, the computers did it. It wasn't us. I'll roll the window down. Good gracious. I'm freaking out. I'll put all these open so we can get some airflow, right? Tilly, you feel better? Yes. Wow, it's a little chilly here, a little windy. So, I mean, yeah, the whole AI thing, it is what it is. I did see, last night on the news here in the Peoria area, this is the second time, probably in the last, I don't know, 2 years maybe, that they've closed a hospital down. Not necessarily closed the hospital down. Well, the other one, they closed the hospital down. This one here locally, they closed down a hospital, the maternity ward, to where you can't give birth there anymore. So the nearest place is now 45 minutes away for these people. And I'm just seeing, you know, it's almost like, makes me wonder why. Why is it that, you know, the birthing rates are going down? Why is it that, I think I know, but why is it that they're having to close these things up? The demand is not there. And there's just not, if you look at it statistically in America, we're not reproducing fast enough to maintain the population. The only thing that's maintaining a population increase in America is the open border, basically. Immigration, allowing people in. And so you're going to see a major culture shift, and you're already starting to see it from what we have grown up and been used to, and the types of people around us, the races around us. You're going to see that all change, that demographic. And it's kind of changing quickly because I think our birth rate, it's under 2 kids, you know, per couple, the average. So, you know, you're not keeping up. So you're going to have kind of an influx in new ideas and new voters, and you know, it's going to be different going forward. It definitely is. And that all affects, I mean, you look at the money, that really has an impact on the money because you've got a lot of that baby boom, and all those people now are retiring in that retirement age to where they're drawing their benefits and they're using their money to survive and, you know, vacation, whatever it is. It depends how much they have, but it's taking a major drain on society because you don't have that backfill of new bodies working to produce, you know, for all the older people. You know, all the people that have been working. So we're not bringing in enough people, and the people we are bringing in, a lot of times they're not contributing. You know, they're not contributing to the system. They're actually a draw on the system. So, I mean, you're at a point where, is it even recoverable? As we talk about the debt ceiling and, oh, we can't default on our debt. We would never default on our debt. You know, both sides are saying that. Okay, then just raise the friggin' debt ceiling and be done with it. And that's not even a default, because a default is just, you're not paying anything. You're just not paying the debt. You're not paying interest on it. You're just done. But, I mean, even if the debt ceiling's not raised, you still have income and you can still make payments. You just have to be smart about it. It's just not an unlimited credit card anymore. You've got a checking account now and you can't bounce the checks. You got to be able to say, okay, this is what I got coming in. This is what can go out. This other stuff, can't pay for it. You know, it is what it is. It's like, I'd like to go out and eat to a nice restaurant. Can't afford it. Okay, so we're going to have ramen tonight. And it's just, you make a decision. That's all there is. You can't be bouncing checks. Now, if you got an unlimited credit card, it's like, keep rolling it over until you can't pay the interest on it. And that's kind of where the United States is. I think more interest is used in servicing the debt now than goes to, I think, the entire military. That's nuts. That's just money wasted. You know how it is. I mean, if you've got a credit card debt and you're just paying, it's like, well, that's $300 interest. What the frick? Your home, look at that. That's a joke, especially now with the interest rates up. It doesn't even matter. If the interest rates are low, they front load it to where all that interest is up front. So if you look at your statements after you buy a house, 30-year loan, and you look at how much principal is getting paid off the amount that you borrowed versus the interest that gets paid back, they front load it. That's the scam. They're totally legal because they write the rules in this vampire casino. Complete scam. And so it's not extended the interest over the 30 years of the loan. No. They want their interest up front. So for the first 5 years, you barely make a dent. Then if you happen to move, it's like if the price hasn't gone up in the house through inflation and it's stagnant, you don't have anything. I mean, when you sell it, especially if you use a realtor, you basically washed out your money. Nothing. You live there. You rent it, essentially. And then probably put money into it because you thought it was yours, my home. And so it's kind of a loser. A lot of times housing is a liability. I mean, it really is. It's a money pit when you start looking at the taxes and you start looking at all the upkeep. And sometimes it's just better to, hey, you know what? I'm just going to rent and I'll just leave when I want. Let somebody else mow the yard. Let somebody else do this, do that. Hey, toilet's broken. Come fix it. I'm not doing it. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, the whole mindset of what we used to think, the demographics of America, hey, buy a house, retire, get a dog, and a man's best friend, and everything's going to work out. You'll live out your golden years. Well, we're finding now that as they inflate the crap out of the dollar and they potentially default on it, what's that mean for everybody that's in dollars? I mean, you put your whole life, your whole investment, all your energy into dollars. Which are really Federal Reserve notes. They're not real dollars because dollars is based on silver. Look at this. Oh, we'll play with you. So now the reckoning is happening. And what are you going to do? That's really what it comes down to. What are you going to do? You're just going to ride it out and let these vampire politicians, these basically AI bots, in Washington, give you another line of crap and say how everything's going to work out, but, it might not. It might be catastrophic, but it's going to work out. I mean, come on. Dilly girl. I mean, what the frick? So realize that that's what you're dealing with and find ways to get out of it. Speaking of which, Litecoin's doing pretty well today. It's closing a little bit on that Bitcoin ratio like I thought it would. Now's the time. Between now and the halving, everybody's, there's no halving pump. Litecoin's garbage. And it's like, well, it's moving now. I think it's because there's a lot of technology built into it that has, up till now, been ignored. And now people are starting to realize it. Okay, here's what's going to happen. As they clamp down on this crypto, and not just crypto, on your money, because they're in dire straits and the government's going to want money, they're going to look everywhere to get it. And people are going to say, whoa, is my 401k safe? Is my IRA safe? Desperate governments do desperate things. They'll come steal the church lands. I mean, when they get that bad, they don't care. It's been done before. They'll do whatever it takes to survive. They're that dying animal. So you got to look at yourself and you say, what I have, is it safe? Where do I put my money to where basically I want to disappear it? Well, there is this option called Mimble on Litecoin. It's been running for about a year now. Actually, a year, 2 days from now, I think it's a year. Well, 2 days from now will be happy hour. I guess we can talk about Mimble on happy hour at 4 p.m. Central Time on Litecoin Lisa's YouTube channel. Every Friday at 4 p.m. Central. Check it out. But people are going to start looking at it and saying, oh, man, where am I going to put my money? And I think a lot of it will go into gold. A lot of it will go into silver because people are just like, I don't trust this government. Not sure what they're going to do. I need to get it in my possession. Maybe put it in a hole in the ground. Maybe, do something with it. If it's cash, put it under my mattress. because governments get tyrannical and they do tyrannical things. Now, in the digital world, one of the big benefits of blockchain is that it's very transparent. It's an open ledger. You know, it's maintained by all these computers, all the transactions. Honest, open system. You know, everybody can see it. Well, it's not necessarily all that private. And, you know, if you've got energy stored up, you don't want to be flaunting it. It's like wearing a Rolex in the hood. Is that a good idea? Probably not. So, you know, if you've got some money that you want to transact, you don't want people to know how much you have. So with Mimblewimble, that allows you to anonymously send funds. You can send it to another wallet and show where it comes from. It's like saying, hey, I'm going to buy this from you. You make a deal for the DigiByte. Hey, I'm going to buy this from you, and I'm going to pay you in Litecoin, but I'm going to send it via Mimblewimble. It's like, okay, scan here, send it. Shows up, doesn't show where it's from. Well, I know where it's from. It's just like somebody handing me cash. And I think as things get more intrusive as we go forward, a technology like that is going to become very important and very desired. So underpinning Litecoin, in addition to a lot of other things, the ordinals, the LTC20, I mean, just the scarcity of the supply having coming up. There's so many things that underpin Litecoin, and it's been undervalued for a long time, and it's catching up with its true value. I mean, if it continues over 92, $3, it's going over 100, and then if it stabilizes at maybe 105 or higher, it's probably going up pretty good. Like I've said, I've always said, and I think this is conservative because it could go a lot higher, but you know, first things first. I'm thinking $240 in June. I put June 21st on it before the halving. I could go a little bit later. I mean, it seems like it's taken a while to kind of pick up, but I mean, that makes sense. $240 Litecoin in June of this year, maybe July, but I put June 21st on it just based on halving statistics from the past two halving events. And it looks like it's starting to make its move, and it will strengthen against Bitcoin, which it's been doing. Bitcoin's down today, Litecoin's up today. So that ratio is starting to close a little bit, and that's what Litecoin's going to do. It's going to seek out its fair value compared to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has some issues. It doesn't have the privacy. It's slow. It's costly to send transactions when a lot of people come into it and start using it. Litecoin doesn't have that issue. And when it comes down to it, when you got to move money and you want to do it now because things are changing quickly, it will show what it's truly there for, sound money for the digital age. So keep an eye on it, you know, do your own research, make all the crappy comments you want about it, but the facts will bear out. All right, love you all. Have a wonderful Wednesday, hump day, camel day. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and realize that now's not the time to be messing around. I mean, they're telegraphing everything they're doing, banks crashing, debt ceiling might default. I mean, why would you want to have your investments and energy wrapped up into a system that's just looking like it's going to collapse? Get assets in your own possession, whatever they may be. It could be nickels from the bank. At least it's got nickel and copper in it. It's got real metals in it. Actually, a nickel right now is, the metal inside of a nickel is worth more than 5 cents. So you're robbing the bank. You go in and buy nickels and you walk out and you got more metal content and value than face value. So something to think about. Silver, whether it's gold, whatever it is, whatever you need going forward, that's what's going to be valuable to you. So if you need water, better have clean water. You need food, better have some food stored up. You need the love of a dog, you better pick your dog now, because there'll probably be a lot of stray dogs showing up needing stuff if it gets that bad. But anyway, all right, love you all. Trust yourselves. Have a wonderful day.